Welcome, friends, to a realm where the cold cuts deeper than any warmth your cozy home could fathom. Imagine a vast expanse of snow, gleaming under a sky just waking, where your breath forms fleeting mists that hover like spirits in the crisp air. You've stepped into a Native American winter camp at first light, a place where no electric heaters hum, no thermostats offer instant comfort, just people. The land and the wisdom etched by centuries of enduring harsh winters, dropped here in your sleepwear. Survival might elude you by nightfall. So, let's be grateful. This journey is through the mind's eye. Before we dive in, if you enjoy this immersive storytelling, give this video a like and hit subscribe. It means the world to creators like me. Also, drop your location and local time in the comments. I'm curious to know where you're joining from. Now lower the lights, and let's venture into the frost. Your boots crunch through snow that squeals underfoot, a powdery kind that forms only when the mercury dips far below zero. The sky glows faintly purple, the sun still a shy promise tucked beneath the horizon. Around you, the camp emerges in soft outlines, rounded earth lodges, their roofs venting wisps of smoke and tall, conical tipis standing like guardians in the dim light. Frost clings to your eyelashes, and each exhale reminds you how fragile your warmth is against the relentless chill. The camp pulses quietly with life, children cheeks flushed, peer from beneath furs of fox or beaver. A dog, dusted with snow, shakes itself near a fire, scattering flakes that catch the dawn's glow. The air carries the earthy tang of burning wood, and tanned hides a blend of necessity and comfort that roots you here. Historical records highlight how tribes of the Great Plains and northern woodlands adapted their homes to the seasons. Summer called for portable, airy structures to follow game. But winter demanded robust shelters, often partially dug into the ground to trap the Earth's latent heat. This wasn't guesswork, it was a science of survival honed over generations, rivaling modern insulation techniques. For example, the Mandan and Hidatsa of the upper Missouri River built earth lodges with thick sod walls, which could maintain interior temperatures far above the freezing outdoors, as archaeological studies confirm. You approach a lodge, it's low. Narrow entrance demanding a humble stoop to enter, a design not for inconvenience, but to block icy gusts. Stepping inside, you'd feel a rush of smoky warmth, a sharp contrast that prickles your skin before it comforts. The air inside is thick, alive with the crackle of a central fire, its embers casting a soft glow. Historians debate the impact of constant smoke inhalation in such spaces. Some suggest it strained lungs over time, while others argue it fortified people against respiratory ailments, a natural antiseptic in harsh winters. Excavations of Plains Indian sites reveal hearths strategically placed to maximize heat retention, with smoke holes carefully angled to balance ventilation and warmth. A peculiar detail stands out. Some tribes, like the Pawnee, used dried grasses or frozen clay to seal wall cracks, turning snow's insulating power to their advantage. Picture packing snow against a lodge's exterior, not to melt, but to harden into a protective shell against the wind. It's a counterintuitive ally, snow, yet one that could mean the difference between life and death. A raven's sharp cry pulls your gaze upward, its dark wings carving through the pastel sky. The camp is never silence, no dampened sound, but the pop of burning logs, the soft huff of tethered horses, and the wind's low moan around shelters create a living symphony. You spot hunters returning from checking snares, their faces steady despite empty hands. Survival here is a long game, measured in months of patience. Their hoods lined with wolf or deer fur shimmer with frost, their steps measured to conserve energy. You imagine the feel of such a hood, its musky scent close, its coarse texture grazing your face. This resilience stems from community. Sleeping here means huddling close, sharing body heat under layers of pelts. Lakota, for instance, often slept in groups within tipis. Their collective warmth a shield against the cold, as oral histories describe. The sun finally rises, pale and tentative, casting golden rays across the snow. Ice on tree branches sparkles like chandeliers, turning the camp's edge into a frozen sanctuary. In this moment, the camp's strength shines brighter than the dawn, a testament to lives built around enduring the unyielding winter. You tread along a narrow, snow-packed trail winding through the camp, each step snapping like brittle ice. These paths, barely wide enough for one, are no accident, Every cleared inch is a calculated effort to save energy for survival. The air bites your tongue, metallic and sharp, freezing the inside of your nose. You pull your cloak tighter, feeling the faint warmth of layered hides. Children scamper behind, their tiny footprints vanishing under fresh drifts, while dogs trot ahead, their fur dusted white but unfazed. Snowbanks rise high, shaped by wind and human hands to deflect gusts from fragile shelters. Historical accounts note that tribes like the Cheyenne chose campsites near natural windbreaks, groves, or bluffs to lessen exposure, a strategy backed by studies of plains archaeology. Surprising detail emerges. Some groups scattered wood ash on paths to add grip, much like modern salt on icy roads. Imagine the contrast: dark ash strewn across dazzling snow, a small but vital act of ingenuity. These trails were more than routes. They were the camp's lifelines, connecting hearths, food stores, and woodpiles. Some scholars suggest certain paths held ceremonial roles, reserved for specific rituals, though evidence is sparse. Every track tells a story: delicate rabbit prints, faint deer trails, or the deep grooves of a travois laden with supplies. Touch the snow, and its crust scrapes your skin, a reminder of the land's unyielding nature. Tonight, we'll venture deeper into these shelters, exploring how rest was wrested from a world that offered no quarter. For now, the camp stirs, fires flare, voices murmur, and the mystery of survival lingers in the frosted air. Beneath your feet, the snow shifts from a hard crust to softer drifts, powdery and yielding. The sounds here are subtle but constanta, distant thud of an axe splitting logs reverberates like a pulse through the quiet, while nearby, the flap of a lodge covering stirs, releasing a burst of laughter from a child and a curl of smoke into the air. Then, the silence returns, heavy and enveloping, as if the snow absorbs every echo. Picture lying down in this stillness, the quiet so profound it could coax your mind towards sleep, though the biting cold would likely jolt you awake before dreams take hold. As you tread along the hardened trail, you sense the weight of history beneath each step. These paths, packed tight by countless feet, are more than roots, their stories etched into the snow, retraced across generations. You imagine the cadence of evening footsteps, hunters returning with game, women balancing bundles of kindling, elders moving with deliberate care, all converging on these vital threads of the camp. What strikes you as their communal purpose? These trails don't just lead to shelters, they bind them, weaving a network of shared survival. Clearing snow, stoking fires, gathering furs, preparing meals, all these acts converge here, pressed into the icy ground. Survival, even sleep, depends on this collective effort. Your breath quickens as the cold nips at your fingertips. You tuck them deeper into your mittens, thankful for their imagined warmth. Every sensation: the sting in your chest, the squeak of snow underfoot, the faint flicker of firelight between lodges, was part of daily life for those who called this home. To them, this wasn't a harsh ordeal, but simply winter met with resilience and quiet expertise. Archaeological studies of plains tribes, like the Arikara, reveal how trails were maintained with precision, often reinforced with ash or gravel to prevent slipping, a practice mirrored in modern snow management, but rooted in ancient ingenuity. At the trail's end, you reach a wide clearing where paths converge like veins meeting a heart. Here, fires glow, carefully tended, their warmth a shared lifeline. This is the camp's pulse, where stories are swapped and the will to endure another frozen night is kindled. The clearing hums with purpose. Elders sit close to the flames. Children dart between shadows, and the air carries the scent of roasting meat. This space, as historical records suggest, often served as a communal hub for winter camps, where rituals, meals, and decisions strengthened tribal bonds. Drawn by the aroma of tanned hides and the glow of firelight, you duck into a winter lodge. Inside, the dim space feels like another world, far removed from the icy expanse outside. The air is thick with smoke, yet it wraps you in a warmth that feels almost sacred after the frost. As your eyes adjust, you notice the walls a mosaic of animal hides, layered like a second skin. Shaggy buffalo pelts, sleek deer hides, and glossy beaver furs interweave, each telling a story of the hunt. These aren't mere coverings. They're a barrier between life and the lethal cold beyond. Running your hand across a hide, You feel its texture coarse in places, soft in others, smooth by years of use. The scent is rich, a blend of musk, smoke, and human care. To you accustomed to synthetic fabrics, it might seem raw, but to the people here, these hides were masterpieces of craft. Tanning and stitching, as described in ethnographic accounts of the Lakota and Cheyenne, were meticulous arts, transforming raw pelts into durable shields against winter's bite. A single buffalo hide, harvested in late autumn, when its fur was thickest, could insulate an entire family, its dense structure blocking winds that modern materials might struggle to match. A fascinating detail emerges. Some hides bore painted design spirals, animals, or sacred symbols, turning functional walls into vibrant tapestries. These weren't mere decorations. They carried spiritual weight, perhaps invoking protection or honoring the animal's sacrifice, as seen in Blackfoot traditions. Scholars debate whether these designs reflected individual expression or communal rituals. Some argue they were like family crests, while others see them as shared symbols of tribal identity. Regardless, these hides were more than insulation. They were woven with meaning. You settle near a sleeping platform, where layers of woven grass mats, stretched hides, and piled furs create a thick nest. As you sink into it, the bedding shifts with a soft crunch of reeds and a sigh of fur, cradling your weight. The relief is palpable, muscles unwind, and warmth seeps into your bones. The soundscape is intimate, the fire crackles sending sparks dancing toward the smoke hole. Low voices hum, parents soothing children, elders chanting softly. A dog stirs its breath, a quiet huff against the wall. In this glow, sleep feels possible, even miraculous, in a world so cold. The furs envelop you, each layer a testament to survival. Buffalo, deer, and beaver hides don't just shield you from the elements. They connect you to the animals, the hunters, and the community that crafted them. This warmth is universal, not unlike slipping under modern blankets, yet here it's amplified by togetherness. Families share these platforms, bodies close, their heat mingling under the pelts. Oral histories from the Crow describe how communal sleeping conserved warmth, ensuring no one faced the night alone. The hides are walls, blankets, and stories all at once, whispering endurance through the dark. Stepping back into the biting air, the scent of smoke and hides lingers on your cloak. You notice another kind of dwelling, half buried in the earth, its rounded form blending into the snow-dusted ground. These earth lodges, unlike the soaring tipis, seem to embrace the land itself. Their timber frames, angled like ribs, are layered with grass, reeds, and packed soil, capped with snow that insulates rather than burdens. The low entrance forces you to crouch, a design that seals out drafts, as archaeological studies of Mandan villages confirm. You're inside, the air is warmer, the ground firm beneath your feet. The earth itself is an ally here, its natural insulation, holding heat with remarkable efficiency. Historical records note that earth lodges could maintain temperatures up to 20 degrees Celsius warmer than the outside air, a feat of engineering born from necessity. The walls, thick with sod, muffle the wind's howl, creating a sanctuary where survival feels less like a battle and more like a quiet triumph. As you linger in the lodge's warmth, the camp's resilience surrounds you. These shelters, whether hide-covered tipis or earth-embraced lodges, are more than structures. They're testaments to ingenuity and community. Each hide, each trail, each fire carries the promise of survival, a vow that even in the deepest winter, warmth and life persist. Tonight, we'll explore further, delving into the rituals and stories that sustain this camp through the longest nights. For now, you carry the glow of the lodge with you, a reminder that in the harshest cold, humanity finds a way to endure. You settle onto a sleeping platform, where the floor dips slightly below the surrounding ground, a subtle but ingenious design. By sinking the lodge into the earth, its builders tapped into the soil's stable warmth, a natural shield against winter's wild temperature swings. The wind's howl, so fierce outside, is softened here, as if the earth itself hushes the storm. Historical records confirm that earth lodges were a hallmark of tribes like the Mandan and Hidatsa along the Missouri River Valley. These communities constructed villages of dozens, sometimes hundreds, of such lodges, each housing multiple families up to 20 or more people under one roof. In winter, the combination of shared body heat, central fires, and thick earthen walls created havens of surprising comfort. With temperatures often 15–20 degrees Celsius warmer than the frozen outdoors. As archaeological studies of Mandan sites reveal, a charming detail adds life to this scene. The roofs of these lodges were so sturdy the children scampered across them. Even in deep snow, their playful shouts echoing like distant drums. Picture yourself inside, drifting toward sleep, hearing the faint thump of small feet overhead, a reminder that joy persists even in winter's grip. Scholars debate whether earth lodges were purely practical or steeped in symbolism. Some propose their circular design mirrored the cosmos, with the central fire representing the sun or a spiritual heart, as seen in Pawnee traditions. Others argue survival trumped symbolism, with the form driven by the need to endure cold. Likely, it was both families huddled around hearths, warmed by fire and perhaps by the quiet belief that their home echoed the universe's order. You rest on a platform of packed earth, layered with woven grass mats and furs. The air is heavy with smoke, but it feels like a warm embrace compared to the icy world outside. Around the fire, people linger, some mend tools. Others sip broth from carved bowls, their voices a soft murmur. The flames cast shifting shadows across the earthen walls, curving like a protective cocoon. Touching the wall, you feel its cool, steady presence, a quiet strength that cradles the lodge. Your body unwinds, lulled by the fire's glow and the earth's embrace. A child nearby shifts under a fox fur blanket, her mother humming a gentle tune that blends with the fire's crackle. The melody weaves the moment together, soothing your senses. You imagine drifting off, the smoke spiraling upward, the warmth seeping into your bones, the earth's weight, a quiet promise of safety. Tiny droplets of water glisten where melting snow seeps through, freezing into delicate crystals along the walls. This lodge is alive, breathing with the land in a cycle of resilience, absorbing cold and radiating warmth. Waking here at dawn, you'd see faint light filtering through the smoke hole, your breath visible in the cool air. You'd stretch against the crackle of reeds, feel the warmth of kin nearby, and spot the fire's glowing embers, ready for fresh wood. Rising, you'd step into the cold with a renewed strength, as if the earth itself had fortified you for another day. These lodges were more than shelters. They were lessons in survival, teaching that the land is not an adversary but a partner. In their quiet embrace, they whispered that warmth could always be found, even in the deepest winter. You step into another lodge where the heart of winter life pulses strongest. The central hearth blazes, its flames casting a warm glow across faces etched with both weariness and resolve. The fire isn't just a luxury, it's life itself. Without it, the cold would seep into every fiber, chilling bones and halting breath. Its heat hits you instantly, easing the frost's sting from your skin. Your shoulders relax, your breath deepens, and a faint warmth spreads across your face, a stark contrast to the icy world beyond. Families gather close, some nestled under furs, others sitting cross-legged, hands outstretched to catch the fire's radiance. The hearth never fades completely. Its embers are tended through the night, for to let it die is to invite disaster. Ethnographic accounts of plains tribes, like the Lakota and Cheyenne, describe the hearth as the core of domestic and spiritual life. Here, meals were cooked, tools crafted, stories shared, and rituals performed. Sleeping near the fire was to rest at the camp's soul, lulled by the rhythmic pop of burning logs and the faint scent of roasting meat mingling with smoke. A surprising detail emerges. Fires were rarely allowed to roar. Large flames produced choking smoke, so instead, small, steady coals were nurtured, offering consistent warmth without overwhelming the lodge. Picture someone adjusting logs with a stick, coaxing embers like a cherished companion. Anthropologists note debates within households about smoke management: widen the vent and lose heat, or narrow it and endure haze. It was a delicate balance, trading a bit of discomfort for survival's sake. The fire's glow is mesmerizing, its flames twisting into shapes that spark the imagination: animals, trees, or spirits dancing on the walls. Children watch, wide-eyed, as shadows blend with their dreams. Adults speak softly, their stories rising with the sparks, weaving knowledge and memory. The soundscape is alive, the hiss of sap, the occasional crackle sending sparks skyward, the shuffle of feet as someone edges closer. These sounds, steady and low, are the camp's heartbeat. You settle near the fire's edge, where the heat is gentle, pulling a hide to your chin. Its texture is rough, yet comforting as it warms. Intriguingly, not all fuel was wood. On the treeless plains, dried buffalo dung was often burned, its earthy, sharp scent filling the lodge. To you, it might seem strange, but to those here, it was the aroma of endurance. Fire held more than physical warmth. Many tribes, like the Blackfoot, saw it as a sacred guardian, warding off malevolent spirits in the long night. The hearth bridged the practical and mystical, a flame that sustained both body and soul. As smoke curls toward the roof's vent, sometimes drifting back to veil the room, your throat dries, but your body relaxes under the steady heat. Sleep here is no accident, it's a craft honed over generations. The fire is tended in shifts, ensuring its glow endures. You lie back, the furs wait a quiet promise of protection, and realize that this hearth, these hides, this earth's lodge are more than survival tools. They're a testament to a people's resilience. A fire that burns through the coldest nights, whispering that life persists. In the lodge's warm glow, someone always stays vigilant, tending the fire to ensure its embers never fade. Even as others dream, one person remains awake, coaxing the flames to keep the cold at bay. This duty, passed through the night, is a quiet pact with survival. Scholars note varied practices among tribes like the Lakota and Mandan regarding sleeping arrangements near the hearth. Some preferred to rest with heads close to the fire, basking in its immediate warmth, though risking stray sparks. Others chose spots farther back, where the heat was gentler but steadier. Offering comfort without the sting of smoke or sudden flares, these choices weren't haphazard. They were honed over generations, each position a calculated balance of warmth and safety. As you settle into this imagined space, the sensory world softens. A pot simmers on the fire, its steam carrying the rich aroma of venison stew, thickened with wild roots or maize, a staple documented in Plains tribes' winter diets. The faint rustle of a hide flap sways in the breeze, but you feel the collective rhythm of breathing yours blending with those around you. The fire binds these elements, its warmth sinking deep into your bones, its light softening the dark, its presence a promise that dawn will break. Without it, sleep would be impossible, survival unthinkable. With it, entire communities withstood winters that would crush the unprepared. The hearth was never just a tool, it was the lodge's soul, the pulse of winter life, guarding dreams and anchoring survival. Ethnographic records highlight its centrality across cultures, from the Cheyenne to the Arikara, where fires were not only heat sources, but also hubs for storytelling, tool-making, and ceremony. As you lie near the flames, watching sparks drift upward like fleeting stars, you understand its deeper role. A beacon of endurance in a world without modern comforts. Your gaze drifts to the smoke hole above, a small circle carved in the lodge's roof. Tilting your head, you watch tendrils of smoke spiral toward it, sometimes escaping smoothly into the night, other times lingering, stinging your eyes and throat. This vent is a delicate compromise essential for breathable air, yet a thief of precious heat. Historical accounts confirm that both earth lodges and tipis relied on such openings to manage smoke, a necessity to prevent the interior from becoming unlivable. Too wide, and warmth vanishes. Too narrow, and fumes choke the air. It's so balanced modern campers might recognize, but one these ancient architects mastered nightly. A curious practice stands out. Some families position their sleeping spots to catch the faint trickle of fresh air slipping through the smoke hole, a lifeline in the hazy warmth. Imagine shifting your place to find that elusive thread of clarity, easing your lungs amidst the smoke. Scholars debate how adjustable these vents were. Some, studying Hidatsa lodges, suggest hide coverings could be shifted with poles to control airflow like a primitive skylight. Others argue that in fierce storms, adjustments were limited, leaving smoke to pool regardless. The truth likely depended on the tribe, the materials, and the weather's mood. Beyond function, the smoke hole is a window to the cosmos. Moonlight or starlight spills through, casting silvery beams that pierce the haze. During blizzards, snowflakes drift in, hissing as they meet the coals. Children gaze upward, perhaps imagining spirits gliding past. The wind whistles faintly through the opening, a low, haunting note that swirls through the lodge before fading. Oral traditions like those of the Blackfoot suggest storytelling was timed to the smoke's flow-steady streams signaled attentive spirits, prompting sacred tales while swirling smoke shifted talk to everyday matters. Whether symbolic or practical, this rhythm tied the lodge to the unseen. Lying beneath the smoke hole, you adapt to its quirks. The scratch in your throat, the sting in your eyes, they become part of the night's texture, signs of warmth rather than discomfort. Elders might sleep closer to the vent, where drafts clear the air, while children are tucked lower, shielded from gusts. Each finds their place, guided by the lodge's design and centuries of trial. Above, the stars burn cold and silent. Below, the smoke rises, a fragile thread marking the camp's defiance. We are here. We endure. The smoke hole, both necessity and symbol. Let's warmth linger, breath steady, and dreams drift skyward like sparks seeking the stars. Your attention shifts to the lodge's edges, where sleeping platforms line the walls like low, sturdy shelves. Raised just above the earthen floor, they keep sleepers off the cold ground, while staying close to the fire's radiant warmth. You crouch to examine the layers, woven red mats, dried grasses, and heaps of hides and furs, meticulously arranged to transform the hard earth into a cradle of comfort. This isn't random piling, but a refined art perfected over generations to maximize insulation and ease. These platforms are communal, not individual. Families lie shoulder to shoulder, children nestled between adults, elders wrapped in the thickest furs. To you, used to private beds, this closeness might feel intimate, even intrusive, but here it's a vital warmth, each body contributing to a shared pool of heat. Ethnographic studies of the Mandan describe how such arrangements could raise sleeping areas, temperatures significantly, a collective defense against the cold. A fascinating detail emerges. Some tribes, like the Omaha, used cattail or bulrush mats beneath furs, adding a springy layer that insulated and cushioned. Picture the faint rustle of these reeds as you shift, a whisper of the wetlands where they were gathered. Scholars debate the construction of these platforms. Some evidence points to raised wooden frames in larger villages, while others suggest simpler earthen benches carved into the walls as seen in Pawnee lodges. These variations reflect the diversity of resources and climates, but the principle remains. Never sleep directly on frozen ground. Lying down, you feel the reeds give slightly, the furs heavy and warm. Their scent a mix of buffalo musk, pine resin from stitched mats, and lingering wood smoke grounds you in this ancient world. The platform is more than a bed. It's a testament to ingenuity, turning the earth's chill into a haven of rest. As you settle deeper, the lodge's rhythm envelops you. The fire's crackle, the soft murmur of voices, the faint creak of reeds beneath shifting bodies. Outside, snow falls and the wind howls, but here, wrapped in furs and community, you feel the pulse of survival. These platforms, like the fire and smoke hole, are more than tools, they're anchors of endurance. Proof that warmth and rest can be carved from the harshest winters. As you lie on the sleeping platform, each breath carries the essence of the materials surrounding your river reeds. Prairie grasses and forest firs woven into a protective cocoon for the night. Children, ever restless, squirm beneath the pelts, their soft giggles hushed by weary parents. Elders rest quietly, their shallow breaths steady, conserving strength. Dogs curl at the platform's edges, their warmth and quiet vigilance adding to the circle. This arrangement is no accident. It's a deliberate dance of survival where every presence has its place, orchestrated by centuries of winter nights. A subtle detail enriches the scene. Some tribes, like the Lakota, tucked sweetgrass or sage into the bedding, their gentle fragrance blending with the smoky air. These herbs, often used in rituals, were believed to ward off harm, turning sleep into a blend of comfort and sacred protection. Imagine drifting off, the faint sweetness of sage softening the fire's tang, lulling you into a dreamlike haze. Anthropologists debate whether these platforms served only for rest or doubled as daytime spaces. In cramped winter lodges, evidence suggests they were multi-purpose. Children played on them. Women crafted tools, and stories unfolded in their embrace. They weren't just beds, but stages for life's daily rhythms. As night deepens, the lodge grows still. Its fire's crackle softens, and voices fade, replaced by the hypnotic tide of breathing from dozens of sleepers. The rhythm inhales, answering exhales, draws you toward drowsiness. The furs press heavily, their warmth a quiet miracle against the frozen world outside. Yet there's fragility here. A single untended log or an unsealed gap in the wall could let the cold creep in. Sleep teeters on a delicate balance of vigilance and trust, sustained by the community's shared effort. These platforms layered with reeds and hides are more than furniture, they're extensions of kinship, binding people through warmth and closeness. In their embrace, sleep becomes a communal act, a testament to connection. You notice the closeness of the sleeper's arms brushing, legs tangling beneath furs, each inhale met by another's exhale. In this world, solitude is a luxury beyond reach. Warmth comes from the press of bodies, the rhythm of shared breath. The phrase body heat takes on profound meaning here. Historical accounts, such as those from the Cheyenne, describe families clustering under shared hides, 3 or 4 together, their collective warmth far more effective than any single blanket. To you, accustomed to a solitary bed, this intimacy might feel overwhelming, but here it's the surest shield against the cold. A curious tradition emerges. Sleepers were often arranged by age and role. Children, vulnerable to chill, were nestled between parents, cocooned in warmth. Elders rested deeper in the lodge, away from drafts where heat lingered most consistently. Even dogs joined the pile, their small bodies adding surprising warmth, as noted in Crow oral histories. Picture it. Fur against fur, skin against skin, a household woven into a living quilt. Scholars debate whether these arrangements were meticulously planned or naturally evolved. But the result was clear: collective fortress against the frost. Lying there, you feel the radiance of a nearby body, at first unsettling, then comforting. The subtle rise and fall of a sibling's chest, the faint heartbeat of a parent through the hides, these become treasures in the night. Ethnographic records mention children occasionally wriggling free, seeking independence in a chilly corner, only to scurry back, noses numb, learning the cost of solitude. The sensory world is vivid. The musk of bodies mingles with wood smoke. Furs grow damp with breath, and frost rims their edges. Heat is uneven. Your toes may chill while your chest glows warm, but this imperfection underscores the shared effort of survival. This closeness echoes a universal instinct. You've likely felt it huddling during a blackout or camping trip, drawn to others when cold bites. For these winter camps, it was the nightly norm, not an exception. Scholars ponder whether this proximity strengthened bonds or sparked tensions. Likely both imagine drifting off, soothed by a loved one's warmth, only to be nudged awake by an elbow. This messy human intimacy was as vital as the physical heat. Sleeping among kin offered psychological comfort, a reminder that the long night was faced together. Dreams, too, were shaped by this collective presence, woven not in isolation, but in the breath of community. As you settle into the furs, your modern instincts might resist, but soon the warmth and rhythm ease you. Shared body heat wasn't just necessity. It was a covenant of care, declaring we survived together, or not at all. In these lodges, sleep was a ritual of unity, proving that closeness, however imperfect, carried life through the frozen dark. Stepping outside, the camp transforms into a vision of resilience. Snow piles high around the lodges, sculpted by hands and wind. At first, you might see these drifts as burdens, but here, snow is an ally, packed against walls to seal in warmth. Archaeological studies of plains tribes like the Mandan confirm this practice. No. When compacted, blocks cold air, acting as a natural insulator. Families worked together, shaping drifts with hands or simple tools, turning the elements into a shield. A striking parallel emerges from Arctic peoples like the Inuit, who built entire shelters from snow. Igloos crafted from spiraled blocks maintained interior temperatures above freezing, even as the outside plunged far below, as documented in ethnographic records. In plains and woodland camps, snow served as reinforcement rather than structure, stiffening lodge walls and muffling sound. Picture patting snow into place, its crunch under your hands a quiet promise of protection. This ingenuity turned winter's weapon into a tool, a testament to the camp's harmony with the land. The snow-draped lodges stand as silent sentinels, their rounded forms blending into the landscape. Inside, warmth persists, guarded by earth, hides, and community. As you stand in the cold, the faint glow of firelight spills from doorways, and the distant crackle of hearths carries through the still air. This camp, built on centuries of knowledge, whispers a truth. Survival is not about conquering the cold, but embracing it, weaving its challenges into the fabric of life. We'll delve deeper into the stories and rituals that bind this community, sustaining them through the longest winters. At night, the camp settles into a profound quiet, the wind's fierce gusts softened by the snowdrifts piled high around the lodges. These drifts, sculpted by both nature and human hands, deflect the storm's bite, their dense layers absorbing sound and cold alike. The hush is almost tangible, as if the camp rests within a protective cocoon. Researchers still explore whether this snow piling was purely practical or held deeper meaning. Was it merely insulation? Or did some tribes, like the Lakota, see it as the earth's gift, a sacred blanket for winter? Oral traditions suggest both a practical shield and a spiritual embrace. Your hand along a snow-packed wall, you feel its smooth, solid surface, surprisingly firm under your touch. The air nearby is still, swallowing the crunch of your steps before they echo. Inside the lodge, the contrast is striking. Warmth from the fire and shared bodies rebounds off fur-lined walls, trapped by the snowy barricades outside. Delicate frost crystals shimmer on the inner walls, catching the fire's glow. Children trace these patterns with small fingers, marveling at the delicate dance of beauty and danger, their laughter a soft ripple in the quiet. Ethnographic accounts note that some tribes, like the Cheyenne, deliberately shoveled snow onto lodge roofs, adding weight to tighten hides against frames and boost insulation, much like a heavy blanket pinning you to bed. To modern eyes, this might seem risky, but it was a controlled art, turning snow into a shield. Scholars debate whether this snow piling was always intentional or sometimes a happy accident. With wind-driven drifts adopted as natural fortifications, evidence varies, but the ingenuity shines through, using the environment's own elements to defy its threats. As you imagine drifting to sleep in such a lodge, the world outside howls with wolves and wind. Yet inside, the fire flickers, firs pile high, and snow walls muffle the storm. The silence is broken only by soft snores and the occasional pop of burning wood. Breathing in the warmth, you feel the cold fade, wrapped in a paradox. Snow, winter's emblem of cruelty, becomes the guardian of rest. This camp teaches a profound truth: survival lies in reimagining hardship as strength, turning the elements into allies. Your gaze shifts to a cluster of dwellings rising sharply against the snowy sky tipis. Their conical frames of poles stretching upward in elegant defiance of the wind. Unlike the earth lodges that hug the ground, these portable homes stand tall. Their bases rimmed with snow, their interiors glowing faintly with firelight. Well documented among plains tribes like the Lakota, Cheyenne, and Blackfoot, tipis were marvels of nomadic design. Built for mobility, yet capable of withstanding blizzards, lightweight enough to dismantle and carry across grasslands. Their sturdy frames and buffalo hide coverings made them winter-ready, as archaeological records confirm. A fascinating detail emerges. In winter, some tipis were lined with an extra layer of hides, creating an insulating pocket of air between walls, akin to modern double-paned windows. Picture the wind battering the outer hide, while inside, a buffer of still air holds warmth close. This wasn't makeshift. It was refined engineering, honed over centuries to balance portability and protection. Scholars debate how warm tipis could remain in sub-zero cold. Some argue they were chillier than earth lodges, while others, citing Blackfoot practices. Note that with skilled fire management and strategic placement, often in wind-sheltered groves, tipis could be surprisingly cozy. Both perspectives likely hold, shaped by weather, resources, and expertise. Stepping inside a tipi, you feel its intimate embrace. The smaller space concentrates the fire's warmth, its flames crackling in the center, smoke spiraling through the top flap. Sleeping mats circle the hearth, claimed by family members curled beneath furs. The sloping walls draw your eye upward to the lattice of poles, silhouetted against the smoky sky. The faint whistle of wind sneaks through seams, a reminder of the thin line between shelter and storm. Early explorers marveled at the tipis' mobility, dismantled in under an hour. Packed onto a travoy and moved to follow the buffalo, even in winter. This adaptability was survival, allowing tribes to track herds across the plains, as documented in Cheyenne oral histories. The sensory world is vivid. The ground feels close, the hides taut, the smoke sharper in the confined space. You breathe shallowly, adjusting to the haze. As the hides rustle softly against the wind, snow sliding down their sloped sides with a quiet sigh. Some anthropologists suggest the tipis' conical shape held symbolic weight, its upward reach linking earth to sky, as seen in Lakota spiritual traditions. Others argue its form was purely practical, designed to shed wind and snow. Likely, it was both a shelter that served body and spirit. As you lie beneath a buffalo hide, listening to whispered stories and watching sparks dance upward, the tipis' dual nature shines, fragile yet resilient, a lifeline for a people in motion. Across the camp, buffalo hides are everywhere, stretched over tipi frames, draped across sleeping platforms layered as blankets. They're not just materials, they're the fabric of survival. Picture a hide taut against a tipi, its thick fur facing out to repel wind, or folded inward on a platform, its softness warming sleepers. Every stitch, every seam tells a story of reliance on the buffalo. Archaeological evidence shows these hides were harvested in late autumn, when buffalo coats were thickest, offering maximum protection against winter's bite. Tanning was a labor-intensive art, scraping, stretching, smoking hides for weeks to make them supple yet durable, as described in Lakota and Cheyenne accounts. A unique practice stands out. Hides were sometimes layered like shingles, the outer ones angled to shed snow and rain, while inner layers trapped heat. This method, noted in Blackfoot records, maximized insulation, ensuring warmth in even the fiercest storms. To lie beneath such a hide was to borrow the buffalo's strength, a connection to the animal's resilience. These hides weren't just functional, some bore painted symbol spirals, animals, or sacred patterns, turning walls and blankets into canvases of meaning, as seen in Sioux traditions. Scholars debate whether these designs were personal expressions or communal rituals, but their presence underscores the buffalo's role as more than a resource. It was a partner in survival. As you pull a hide closer, its weight grounds you, its musk mingling with the fire's smoke. The camp's heartbeat fires, furs, and shared breath pulses through these hides. They are walls, warmth, and stories woven together, carrying entire nations through winters that would otherwise overwhelm. In their embrace, you sense the profound truth of this camp. Survival is not about defying the land, but harmonizing with it, turning its gifts into enduring strength. The buffalo hides enveloping the camp are more than mere coverings. They are the essence of survival, meticulously placed to guard against the cold. A single misaligned seam could invite icy drafts, much like a poorly zipped modern jacket lets in the chill. This precision reflects a deep understanding, akin to layering in contemporary outdoor gear, where each hide serves a purpose: outer layers to repel wind, inner ones to cradle warmth. Historians debate the hide's significance. Were they chosen purely for their durability, or did their spiritual weight, tied to the buffalo's role as a sacred provider, shape their use? For tribes like the Lakota and Cheyenne, the buffalo was life itself, supplying food, tools, and shelter, suggesting a reverence inseparable from practicality, as oral traditions emphasize. Touching a hide, you feel its dual nature, the outer fur coarse and bristly. Like frozen prairie grass, the inner side smooth and smoky, softened by tanning with animal fat. The scent is rich, earthy, musky, faintly oil lingering in your dreams as a comforting anchor. Some hides, particularly among the Blackfoot, were adorned with painted designs, geometric patterns, or hunting scenes, turning blankets into storytellers. Imagine drifting off beneath a hide etched with a buffalo chase, its images glowing faintly in the firelight, blending warmth with memory. Ethnographic records suggest these decorations were both personal and communal, perhaps marking a family's legacy or honoring the animal's spirit. Children burrow beneath these massive hides, only their noses peeking out, eyes drooping as warmth envelops them. Elders, slower to warm, pile on extra layers, cocooning until their bodies ease. Dogs nestle close, their fur mingling with the buffalo's, weaving a tapestry of shared heat. Scholars question whether access to the best hides was equal. Did skilled hunters or tanners claim the thickest pelts, leaving others with thinner ones? Or did winter camps, like those of the Mandan, prioritize communal sharing? Evidence varies, reflecting diverse tribal practices and resource availability. As you sink beneath a hide's weight, it feels heavy yet reassuring, blocking the cold entirely. You breathe deeply, the musky warmth soothing your muscles, a gift from the buffalo that once roamed the plains. A light-hearted detail emerges. Some hides were so thick they resisted folding, prompting good-natured grumbling as families wrestled them for travel. Picture children giggling at the struggle, a reminder that humor lightened even the harshest winters. These hides were guardians, canvases, and companions, carrying entire communities through the night, their warmth a testament to the buffalo's enduring legacy. At the camp's edge, near icy rivers or coastal shores, a different light flickers. Stepping into a shelter, you're greeted not by a wood fire's crackle but by the soft, blue glow of a stone lamp, culloch-burning seal or whale oil. Its flame, steady and understated, carries a faint, fatty scent, less intense than a roaring hearth, but just as vital. Among Arctic and subarctic peoples like the Inuit and Yupik, the culloch was the heart of winter life, providing light, heat, and a cooking surface. As documented in ethnographic studies, without it, darkness and cold would consume the shelter. Women tended these lamps with care, trimming moss or plant fiber wicks with bone tools to maintain a steady flame. A culloch could be adjusted bright for tasks like sewing, dim for sleep, burning for hours on a single fill of oil, as Inuit oral histories describe. Scholars debate its heating power. Some argue it kept snow shelters above freezing, crucial for survival, while others suggest its warmth was modest, amplified by furs and shared body heat. Likely, it was the interplay of lamp, hides, and architecture that sustained life. The sensory world is mesmerizing. Shadows dance across curved snow walls, the flames soft hiss like distant rain, the pungent oil scent clinging to your clothes. Lying beneath hides, your face glows where the light touches, your back chilled by the icy floor, a balance of comfort and endurance. Early accounts note children falling asleep, mesmerized by the culloch's glow, dreaming of it as a tiny sun promising spring's return. In Inuit traditions, the lamp was sacred, its flame a symbol of the home spirit, tended by women whose skill ensured survival. A sputtering wick signaled scarcity, strong flame promised security. Curling up in this lamplit shelter, you hear the muffled crash of waves against ice, softened by snow walls. The culloch's glow is your last sight before sleep. Its fragile light a reminder that even in the harshest cold, a single flame can sustain life. This delicate brilliance carried communities through endless winters, proving that survival often rests on the smallest, most resilient sources of warmth. In the lodge's dim light, filtered through the smoke hole, your eyes catch the faint gleam of tools along the wallbone scrapers. Antler awls and fleshing tools smoothed by years of use. These were the instruments that turned raw hides into soft bedding, essential for winter survival. Archaeological finds, such as those from Lakota and Mandan sites, reveal their precision. A bison rib scraper stripped fat from hides, an antler all punched holes for stitching. Untreated hides were stiff and drafty. Properly prepared, they became insulation rivaling modern quilts. A surprising technique emerges. Some tribes, like the Hidatsa, use sand or pumice to polish hides, smoothing them into supple layers, as noted in early ethnographic accounts. This labor transformed coarse pelts into comforting blankets, ensuring warmth through the night. Picture the rhythmic scrape of bone against hide, a sound as steady as the fire's crackle, echoing the care that sustained the camp. These tools were more than utilitarian, they were lifelines, shaping the raw gifts of the land into sanctuaries of rest. As you lie in the lodge, surrounded by hides, furs, and the culloch's glow, the camp's resilience envelops you. Each element, snow, buffalo, flame, and tool, tells a story of ingenuity and connection. Survival here is not about conquering the cold, but weaving it into a tapestry of endurance, where every night's rest is a triumph of community and craft. We'll explore the stories whispered in these shelters, the dreams that carried these people. In the lodge's dim glow, the rhythmic rasp of bone against hide fills the air, a testament to the painstaking work of transforming stiff pelts into pliable bedding. Women, often the artisans, spent long winter nights scraping and softening hides, their steady strokes creating a lulling cadence. Scholars debate the techniques across regions. Some, like the Lakota, smoked hides to infuse them with protective oils, lending a pungent scent that permeated shelters, as ethnographic records note. Others, such as the Cheyenne, favored animal fat to achieve a softer texture, though it added weight. Evidence suggests both methods thrived, shaped by local climate and resources, resulting in a rich variety of textures and aromas across winter camps. Touching a prepared hide, you feel its pliancy. It crackles slightly, firm yet yielding. The scent is vivid, a sharp blend of smoke, animal fat, and earthy musk, woven into every fiber. The tool's bone, scrapers, and antler all feel cool, their edges smoothed by years of use. The scraping sound, steady and repetitive, could lull you to sleep if you lay nearby, a soothing echo of survival's labor. A charming detail emerges. Children sometimes wielded miniature scrapers, mimicking adults with small arcs on hide scraps as described in Blackfoot oral traditions. This play was also practice, preparing them for the day their skill would sustain the camp. Picture a child curling beneath a fur they helped soften, their small effort woven into the warmth. These tools weren't just for bedding, they crafted clothing, moccasins, and shelter covers. But at night, their impact shone in the fluid drape of a hide, sealing in heat without stiffness. A poorly prepared pelt might crack or let drafts slip through, disrupting sleep. A well-crafted one cradled you in comfort. Ethnographers marvel at the efficiency of bone and antler tools, rivaling modern implements despite their simplicity. It was knowledge, not material, that drove their success. As you lie beneath a softened hide, you feel the labor behind a teach scrape. Each stitch a story of resilience, turning raw pelts into sanctuaries of rest. As you settle deeper, a new aroma drifts through the large knot, just smoke or musk. But the sharp, sweet tang of burning herbs. A bundle of sage crackles on the fire, its gray-green leaves curling, releasing a cleansing scent that transforms the air. This wasn't just to mask odors. It was comfort, ritual, and medicine. Historical accounts of tribes like the Lakota and Ojibwe confirm that sage, cedar, or sweetgrass brightened winter nights, their aromas purifying spaces and soothing spirits. Cedar's resinous smoke repelled insects, while sage cleared the mustiness of damp hides, as noted in ethnographic studies. A subtle practice stands out. Sprigs of braided sweetgrass were sometimes tucked into bedding, their fragrance released by the weight of sleeping bodies, as seen in Cree traditions. Some argue they improved air quality in smoky lodges. Others emphasize their role in smudging rituals, cleansing negative energies. Likely they served both purposes, blending medicine and meaning. The air sharpens as sage burns, tingling your throat, but the scent soothes, easing minds as much as lungs. The soft hiss of burning oils and the faint crackle of leaves create a gentle soundscape, calming the lodge. Cedar boughs, sometimes laid beneath bedding, added insulation and fragrance. Crunching underfoot as children giggled, as recorded in Ojibwe accounts. Stepping into a lodge felt welcoming, the air alive with cedar's resinous depth. As you drift towards sleep, the scent sweetgrass, sage, cedar blend with smoke, weaving a serene incense. Researchers suggest these aromas shaped winter psychology, offering continuity across seasons and generations, much like lavender calms today. The herbs link the lodge to summer's memory, whispering hope into dreams. Sleep becomes a ritual, guided by fire, furs, and the invisible threads of scent, turning smoky shelters into sanctuaries of warmth and spirit. Near the fire's warmth, a small bundle catches your aha baby swaddled tightly in furs, only its rosy cheeks visible. The infant's steady breaths rise and fall beneath rabbit or squirrel pelts, soft as down. A mother's gentle hand soothes a faint whimper, her touch a quiet promise of safety. Ethnographic records of tribes like the Inuit and Lakota describe cradle boards or swaddling wraps lined with the softest materials, rabbit fur, bird down, or even moss to protect vulnerable infants. These weren't luxuries, but necessities, shielding tiny bodies from frostbite's threat. A surprising detail emerges. Moss, dried and softened, was often used as diapering material, absorbing moisture and cushioning, as noted in Cree oral histories. Mothers replaced it frequently, ensuring comfort. Its earthy scent mingling with smoke and fur, a natural precursor to modern baby powder. The cradle board, propped near the fire, was both bed and guardian, its warmth carefully calibrated to keep the child safe. Picture the faint rustle of moss and fur as the baby shifts, a sound as gentle as the mother's lullaby. These cradles reflect the camp's communal care. Children were the future, their survival paramount. The softest furs, the warmest spot by the fire, these were reserved for the smallest, a collective investment in tomorrow. As you watch the infant sleep, you feel the lodge's heartbeat fire, furs, and family weaving a protective cocoon. The care in every detail, from moss to cradle board, mirrors the camp's broader ethos. Survival is a shared act, sustained by love and labor. As you linger in the lodge, wrapped in softened hides, breathing the faint perfume of sage, and watching the fire's glow cradle a sleeping child, the camp's resilience comes alive. Every element, tools, herbs, furs, and flame tells a story of ingenuity and connection. These winter shelters, whether snow-draped earth lodges or portable tipis, are more than structures. They're testaments to a people's harmony with the land. Sleep here is not just rest, but a ritual of endurance, woven from community, craft, and the quiet gifts of the earth. The buffalo's hide, the kulak's flame, the scrape of bone tools, the scent of burning sage, these are the threads of a tapestry that carried entire nations through winter's dark. Each night's rest, secured by shared warmth and careful hands, was a triumph over the cold. As you close your eyes, the lodge's rhythm crackling fire, rustling furs, and steady breaths lulls you into dreams, whispering that survival is not about conquering nature but embracing it, turning its challenges into sanctuaries of life. Through the frozen dark, near the fire's warm glow, a baby sleeps, swaddled tightly in furs so soft they seem to melt under a mother's touch. Only the infant's rosy cheeks peek out, warmed by the hearth's steady heat. The cradle board creaks faintly as it's adjusted, its wooden frame absorbing the fire's warmth. The child's breath, sweet and misty, drifts into the cool drafts, snaking along the floor. A mother's soft lullaby hums, its words too quiet to discern, pulsing like a heartbeat through the still air. Ethnographic records from tribes like the Lakota and Inuit describe these cradle boards, lined with rabbit fur or bird down, as vital protection for infants, whose small bodies could chill rapidly without such care. Curious detail emerges. Some tribes, like the Cree, use dried moss as diapering material, soft and absorbent, replaced frequently to keep babies dry. Its earthy scent, blending with fur and smoke, was a natural comfort, akin to modern baby powder, but drawn from forests and streams. Scholars debate whether infants were always kept near the fire or sometimes placed in cooler corners, wrapped in extra layers to build resilience. Oral traditions, such as those from the Cheyenne, suggest both practices existed, varying by family, season, or belief, some shielding babies entirely, others gradually toughening them to the cold. Cradle boards often bore decorations, beads, quills, or small charms dangling softly, catching the firelight. These weren't mere ornaments. They were prayers for protection, as noted in Blackfoot accounts, guarding the child's vulnerable sleep. The community shared this responsibility. Older siblings watched nearby, tasked with ensuring the cradle's safety through the night, while elders whispered stories over the sleeping infant, believing words could shape dreams. Sleep here was a collective vow, ensuring the youngest woke to another dawn. Imagine being that infant, cocooned in warmth so complete the winter vanishes. The fire's heat, the fur's weight, the lullaby's vibration, and the murmur of voices envelop you. The world beyond is irrelevant only. This sanctuary matters. Anthropologists suggest this early closeness shaped lifelong values. Growing up swaddled in community taught that warmth and survival were shared, not solitary, as seen in Lakota child-rearing practices. This lesson, absorbed from the first nights, wove connection into the fabric of life. As the mother nudges the cradle closer to the fire, you sense a rhythm of care echoing across generations. Infants dreamed in trust, guarded by furs, moss, and loving hands, proving that survival was as much about love as it was about endurance. Across the lodge, elders rest near the hearth, their faces etched with winters survived. Their movements slow but deliberate, anchoring the space like ancient trees. Wrapped in thick buffalo robes, they sit or lie in meditative stillness, conserving energy with a calm that feels profound. Oral traditions from tribes like the Ojibwe highlight elders as memory keepers, their stories weaving past winters into present resilience. Children watched them, learning patience not rushing, but enduring as a quiet strength that outlasted storms. A poignant detail stands out. Elders were often given the warmest spots, not as indulgence but as respect, as noted in Mandan accounts. Near the fire, where drafts were gentlest, their frail bodies found comfort, a reciprocal act for the care they'd given in youth. Scholars debate whether elders were fully spared hardship. Some argue they were excused from heavy tasks. Others suggest their wisdom kept them awake, tending fires or guiding restless families with prayers. Likely, their role shifted, sometimes resting deeply, sometimes carrying the night's weight with whispered words. The sensory world around them is distinct. Their robes, layered with heavy furs, rustle softly, a dry hush like falling leaves. Their breath, slow and deliberate, is audible only up close. When they speak, their gravelly voices carry a quiet authority, not loud but weighty. Some traditions, like those of the Cheyenne, describe elders humming soft songs or sharing brief parables as others drifted off, calming the lodge with their presence. Picture a child waking, startled by the wind's howl, soothed by an elder's murmur. The snow shields us. Rest. The words, simple yet profound, carry the weight of countless winters. Anthropologists ponder whether this stillness was cultural discipline or survival instinct. Did elders model composure to teach the young? Or did their bodies naturally slow? Either way, their presence steadied the lodge, making it more resilient. Their dreams, perhaps wandering to long-ago hunts or lost kin, carried lessons of endurance. Lying nearby, you feel their calm as a vital warmth, as essential as the furs. Their quiet strength was a blanket, ensuring families could close their eyes and face another night. As evening deepens, the lodge fills with the rich aroma of stew simmering over the coals. A blackened pot steams its contents, venison, beans, and dried berries blending into a fragrant promise of warmth. Each whiff tells a story of autumn's labor: corn dried on the cob, beans stored in woven sacks, meat cured into jerky, as archaeological records of plains tribes confirm. These preserved foods ensured meals through snowbound months, nourishing bodies and calming minds for sleep. The stew ladled into wooden bowls, warms from within, loosening muscles and easing hearts. A delightful practice stands out. Marrow bones cracked and added to the pot, enriched the broth with fat, a vital source of calories, as noted in Lakota accounts. Imagine savoring a piece, the warm marrow melting on your tongue, restoring strength like a primal elixir. Food historians debate the variety of winter diets. Some suggest monotony, with stews repeated nightly. Others, citing Cheyenne records, note diversity: wild roots, dried fruits, or even fish and river camps aiding flavor and nutrition. It's the stew's warmth, spreading from belly to limbs, was as much a ritual as a meal, preparing the body for rest in a world where every calorie counted. As you sip the broth, the lodge's rhythm envelops you. The fire's crackle, the elders' murmurs, the soft clink of bowls. The meal binds the community, a shared act of sustenance before sleep. In this moment, the cold outside fades, and the lodge becomes a sanctuary of warmth. Food and connection, carrying the camp through another winter night. Lying in the lodge, wrapped in softened hides, breathing sage-scented air, and tasting the warmth of stew, you feel the camp's heartbeat. From the infant's cradle to the elder's robes, from the colic's glow to the buffalo's gift, every element weaves a tapestry of survival. These shelters, earth lodges, tipis, snow-draped camps, are more than refuges. They're testaments to ingenuity, community, and harmony with the land. Sleep here is a collective triumph, sustained by trust, labor, and the quiet gifts of the earth. Each night's rest, secured by fire, furs, and shared warmth, defies the winter's cruelty. As you drift into dreams, the lodge's rhythms crackling flames, rustling hides, steady breaths whisper a timeless truth. Survival is not about conquering nature, but embracing it, turning its challenges into sanctuaries of life. The camp endures, its people dreaming together, carried through the frozen dark by the strength of their connection. As the lodge settles, the air grows heavy with the rich scent of stew simmering over glowing coals. A blackened pot bubbles, its steam weaving ribbons of fragrance venison's gamey depth. It's the earthy tang of beans and the subtle sweetness of dried berries. Each aroma tells a story of autumn's labor. Corn dried on cobs, beans stored in woven sacks, and meat cured into jerky, as archaeological evidence from Plains tribes confirms. These preserved foods sustained families through snowbound months, offering not just nourishment, but a shield of warmth from within. A delightful detail emerges. Some tribes, like the Ojibwe, added dried fruits, nuts, or even maple sugar to their winter meals, crafting occasional sweet treats, as noted in ethnographic records. This variety countered the monotony of stews, bringing bursts of flavor and memory. Food historians debate the extent of this diversity. Some argue for repetitive meals, others for creative blends of foraged and hunted staples. Regardless, each bite was precious, linking sustenance to comfort. The stew's warmth spreads from throat to core, loosening muscles and calming minds for sleep. Imagine lifting a wooden bowl, its heat warming your palms, the thick broth, hearty yet soothing, preparing you for rest. Oral traditions such as those from the Cheyenne suggest heavy meals were deliberate before sleep, believed to insulate the body against the cold as fires dimmed. Picture lying back, burrowed in furs, drowsy from a warmth that glows inside and out. Eating wasn't silent, soft laughter ripples as a child spills stew, murmurs of gratitude rise, and dogs wait eagerly for scraps. This communal act, as ethnographers note, strengthened bonds as much as bodies, making sleep possible. Each flavor venison from the autumn hunt. Corn from summer fields carried memories of warmer seasons, weaving continuity across time. As you set your bowl aside, the stew's scent lingers, a comforting anchor in the smoky air, reminding you that survival was as much about shared nourishment as it was about fire or furs. As the fire burns low, the lodge grows quiet but not silent. Soft voices rise, weaving melodies that drift like smoke, easing the camp into rest. These songs, slow and rhythmic, are not boisterous but gentle, like lullabies stretching across generations. Ethnographic accounts from tribes like the Lakota describe winter evenings filled with such musics, some songs teaching children language or recounting hunts, others soothing restless minds with familiar tones. The cadence paired with the fire's crackle lulls eyelids heavy, as if sleep were a natural extension of the melody. A striking belief emerges. Some songs were thought to shape dreams, guiding sleepers toward visions of safe hunts or protective spirits, as noted in Blackfoot traditions. Imagine drifting off to a parent's voice singing of successful journeys, planting hope in your subconscious. Scholars debate the song's purpose. Were they educational, embedding knowledge, or spiritual, invoking protection? Likely both, blending memory and prayer to soften fear and strengthen community. The sensory world is vivid. Voices, some gravelly with age, others clear and high, blend with the fire's flicker, casting dancing shadows. The air, tinged with sage and smoke, feels lighter, lifted by melody. Your breath slows, syncing with the song's rhythm, your heart easing into calm. A charming detail stands out. Dogs sometimes joined in, their soft howls harmonizing with human voices, as recorded by early travelers among the Cree. Far from disruptive, these cries wove into the chorus, embracing every being in the lodge. Picture children curling tighter under furs, lulled by this unlikely harmony, their dreams shaped by melody. Researchers note that music-altered times wait-long winter nights, potentially oppressive, were filled with rhythm, making darkness feel less endless. As you lie half awake, a repeated phrase hums like a pulse, sparks leaping upward, the smoke hole framing distant stars. The song carries you across the threshold into dreams, a reassurance of safety within the community's circle. As the lodge hushes, voices fading and embers glowing, You sink into sleep, where dreams become more than realm. Many native traditions, like those of the Lakota and Ojibwe, revered dreams as messages, guiding hunts, warning of dangers, or revealing paths forward, as ethnographic records confirm. To dream was to commune with unseen forces, a vital act as real as waking life. Some, particularly young hunters, slept with talismans, feathers, painted stones, or herb pouches, hoping to summon visions of strength, as described in Cheyenne accounts. Imagine clutching such an object, heart pounding with anticipation of the night's revelations. Scholars debate dreams' influence. Some argue they directly shaped decisions, like choosing hunting routes, while others suggest they were interpreted loosely, woven into broader intuition. Either way, dreams were shared at dawn, as Blackfoot oral histories describe, with communities piecing together visions like a collective map. The sensory world of dreaming is vivid. The fire's glow pulses behind closed eyes. The warmth of kin steadies your breath, and sage's faint scent lingers like a protective veil. The crackle of embers fades as images drift snowy plains. A flickering flame guiding you, or distant drums echoing without a source. These dreams feel more real than the lodge itself. Communal dream sharing strengthened the camp, as one person's vision of a buffalo herd might align with another's of a clear river, guiding the day's plans. As you dream, walking across endless snow led by a dancing flame, you sense the lodge's rhythm, fire, furs, and shared breath anchoring you. Dreams here are not solitary but collective, a shared journey through the night, ensuring the camp wakes with wisdom to face the cold. Lying in the lodge, wrapped in furs, lulled by songs, and warmed by stew. From the infant's cradle to the elder's robes. From the kullik's glow to the buffalo's gift, every element weaves a tapestry of endurance. These shelters, earth lodges, tipis, snow-draped camps are sanctuaries of ingenuity, where sleep is a collective triumph. Each night's rest, sustained by shared warmth, nourished meals, and guiding melodies, defies winter's cruelty. As you drift into dreams, the lodge's rhythms, crackling embers, soft songs, steady breath scare you. The camp teaches a timeless truth. Survival is not about conquering the cold, but harmonizing with it, turning its challenges into warmth, nourishment, and vision. In this frozen world, the people dream together. Their shared resilience, a flame that burns through the darkest nights, promising another dawn. As the animal cries fade, a heavier silence settles, heralding a storm's approach. The air thickens and soon wind slams against the lodge, snow hissing as it pelts hides and earth. The walls shudder, a ship adrift in a frozen sea. As families draw closer to the fire, tucking furs tighter around children. Archaeological and ethnographic records, such as those from the Lakota, confirm blizzards as winter's greatest trials. Temperatures could drop to deadly lows in minutes, visibility vanishing, isolating camps or stranding hunters. Survival hinged on preparation, stocked firewood, stored food, and shelters fortified to withstand days of relentless wind. A remarkable practice stands out. Some tribes, like the Inuit, built temporary snow shelters during storms, even near lodges. Compacted snow, sculpted into domes or trenches, resisted wind better than hides, as noted in Arctic accounts. Imagine huddling inside, your breath warming the walls, the storm's roar muffled by snow's embrace. Scholars debate how often lodges collapse under blizzards. Some argue their snow-packed bases and sturdy frames endured most storms, as seen in Mandan designs. Others cite rare collapses, forcing rapid rebuilding, as Cheyenne oral histories suggest. Both possibilities linger, the dread of cracking poles and the relief of a shelter standing firm. The sensory world is intense. Gusts force smoke downward, filling the lodge with acrid haze, stinging eyes. Hides creak under the wind's grip, frost tracing veins along seams. Drafts slip through, icy fingers grazing your skin. You pull a fur closer, hearing snow's soft whisper as it seeps in, a reminder of the wall's fragility. Oral traditions like those of the Blackfoot turned storms into stories, wind as a giant's breath, snow as its footsteps. Parents murmured these tales, soothing children by recasting chaos as myth, making sleep possible amidst the roar. Survival was collective. Someone tended the fire, another secured flaps, another calmed the restless. No one faced the storm alone. If flames faltered, dried dung or rationed wood was fed carefully. Smoke overwhelmed, vents were adjusted, braving icy gusts. The storm demanded unity, as ethnographers note, binding families in shared resolve. Lying under a buffalo hide, you hear the winds howl, the poles groan, the snows hiss. Yet the circle of warmth holds kin beside you, fire at your feet. Fear lingers, but resolve grows stronger. Sleep, though uneasy, comes as an act of trust in the lodge's strength and the community's care. Each storm surviving, weaving another story of endurance. As the storm passes, dawn bathes the camp in pale light, snow sculpted into frozen waves. Smoke curls upward, and figures emerge. Hunters, snowshoes strapped on, slipping into the silvered forest to check traps. Their breath puffs rhythmically, vanishing into the cold. Ethnographic records from tribes like the Ojibwa describe these nocturnal or pre-dawn excursions to snare rabbits or foxes, timed when animals were active. Leaving a warm lodge seems unthinkable, but for them, it was vital, blending survival with the rhythm of rest. A striking detail emerges. Snow itself lit the way. On clear nights, moonlight reflected off drifts, casting sharp shadows, as noted in Lakota accounts. Picture stepping through this glow, snow crunching underfoot, your shadow gliding like a silent companion. Scholars debate whether these journeys were purely practical or spiritual. Some see them as routine chores. Others, citing Cheyenne traditions, view the night as a liminal space where spirits walk closer, offering guidance. Each step likely held both purposes, seeking food and glimpsing mystery. The sensory world is vivid. The air bites, carrying pine and frost, the silence broken by a snapping branch or an owl's call. Snowshoes creak, letting you float across drifts. Some hunters, as Cree stories recount, carried glowing embers in wooden or clay vessels. Their faint red light dancing on snow, a thread of the lodge's fire extended into the wild. These journeys blurred, waking and dreaming, with fatigue and moonlight weaving visions of animals or spirits. Returning with meat or fur, hunters also brought stories, enriching the camp's dreamscape. Sleep was never unbroken. Some slumbered while others rose, ensuring food for dawn. This rhythm, as ethnographers note, mirrored the camp's heartbeat, shared duty sustaining life. Each trap checked, each vision glimpsed, wove survival and mystery into the night, making rest a dynamic act of community and courage. Lying in the lodge, wrapped in furs, lulled by songs, and stirred by the wilderness's call, you feel the camp's pulse. From the firekeeper's vigil to the hunter's moonlit treks, from dreams of buffalo to the storm's fierce test, every moment weaves a tapestry of resilience. Infants swaddled in moss, elders whispering wisdom, and families sharing stool are bound by fire, fur, and trust. These shelters, earth lodges, tipis, snow-draped camps, are sanctuaries where sleep is a collective triumph, harmonizing with the land's rhythms. Each night's rest, sustained by vigilance, nourished by meals, and guided by dreams, defies winter's cruelty. The lodge's sounds, crackling embers, howling wolves, hissing snow, blend with human voices, creating a symphony of survival. As you drift into dreams, guided by an owl's call or a buffalo's gaze, you grasp the camp's truth. Survival is not conquest but connection, turning cold into warmth, fear into courage, darkness into a shared vision of dawn. The camp endures, its people dreaming together, their resilience a flame burning through the frozen night. As illness lingers in the lodge, a faint cough breaks the quiet, met with the community's resourcefulness. Medicinal teas brewed from willow bark for pain or spruce needles rich in vitamin C warm the air, sipped slowly by the fire. Steam from boiling herbs, as noted in Cree oral histories, eases lungs heavy with frost or smoke, while animal fats rubbed into skin seal in warmth and soothes aches. Sleep, though restless, becomes a space for healing, wrapped in remedies both physical and spiritual. A striking belief, recorded among the Lakota, held that dreams could guide recovery, revealing herbs or signaling spiritual imbalance. Healers interpreted these visions, directing families toward cures, as ethnographic accounts describe. Imagine lying feverish under buffalo hides, drifting through visions as kin watch anxiously. their prayers mingling with cedar's sharp scent tossed into the flames. Scholars debate the balance of these practices. Some emphasize empirical knowledge, willow bark as aspirin-like properties or pine needles, scurvy prevention, while others highlight ceremonial chants accompanying treatments, as seen in Ojibwe traditions. Likely no line divided them. Medicine and spirit were interwoven, like fur and hide. The sensory world is vivid. Bitter tea stings your tongue, steam fogs the air, and damp furs cling to fevered skin. A cool hand steadies your forehead, the fire's rhythmic pop grounding the night. Charming detail emerges. Children chewed spruce tips in spring, as Cheyenne accounts note, strengthening lungs for future winters of foresight woven into survival. Illness demanded collective care, as ethnographers observe. Families sacrifice sleep to tend the sick, burning sage to purify air, or preparing sweat lodges to cleanse body and spirit. Lying ill, your never alone kin encircle you, their warmth a living wall. Sleep comes fitfully, each dose of tea or prayer a step toward dawn. Even in sickness, hope persists, carried by community and the promise of dreams guiding recovery. The lodge hums with the steady rise and fall of bodies, a communal warmth defying the cold. Families sleep shoulder to shoulder, their heat blending into a living quilt, as vital as firewood, as anthropologists note in studies of plains tribes. Infants nestle between parents, elders rest near the hearth, and children sprawl along edges, each position deliberate. Even dogs join this circle, their thick coats radiating warmth, their loyalty a soft reassurance, as Lakota oral traditions describe. Picture a child curled against a dog's coarse fur, their breath sinking as sleep takes hold. Scholars debate sleeping arrangements. Some, like the Mandan, maintained gender or age divisions. Others, as in Cheyenne camps, prioritized survival over structure, bodies packed tightly for warmth. The sensory world is rich. Shoulders press against you. Hair brushes your skin. Hides grow heavy as bodies tug them closer. The air, thick with smoke, sweat, and fur, carries the mingled sense of life. A sigh ripples through the group, breaths aligning, as if the lodge were one organism. Dreaming together, as early observers noted among the Cree, this closeness, ethnographers suggest, shaped lifelong bonds. Children grew, knowing family in every night's breath. Elders found comfort in younger kin. Sleep was not solitary, but a shared act, weaving safety and belonging into every heartbeat. As the lodge falls silent, embers pulse like a red heartbeat, the only sound the faint whisper of snow settling outside. The deepest hour of night folds everyone into gentle surrender. Hides heavy, kin close, the air thick with fur's musk. Archaeological evidence and oral histories from tribes like the Blackfoot confirm this resilience was no accident, but a system refined over centuries. Hides, snow walls, herbs, songs, and communal sleep, each with purpose. A lesser-known tradition noted in Ojibwe accounts was the dawn's pause, a brief silence before the day's bustle, honoring survival through another night. Imagine waking with frost on your lashes, stirring beside kin, the lodge still standing, the fire smoldering, your body warm. Scholars ponder whether winter was merely endured or embraced as a teacher. Some see it as necessity, honing survival. Others, citing Lakota philosophies, view it as a lesson in patience and humility. The cold, a partner in life's balance. The sensory quiet is delicate. A sigh as someone shifts, a coal's faint pop, the world outside muffled by snow. This stillness is not empty, but full, carrying the weight of a night survived, a community intact. Sleep here is rest within a collective memory, each breath a testament to ingenuity and connection. Lying in the lodge, wrapped in furs, lulled by stories, healed by herbs, and warmed by kin, you feel the camp's heartbeat, a symphony of survival. From moonlit hunts to shared games, from sacred rituals to communal sleep, every act weaves a tapestry of endurance. Infants swaddled in moss, elders sharing tales, families battling illness, all are bound by fire, fur, and trust. These shelters, earth lodges, tipis, snow-draped camps are sanctuaries where sleep is a collective triumph, harmonizing with the land's wild pulse. Each night's rest, sustained by remedies, stories, and closeness, defies winter's cruelty. The lodge's rhythms crackling embers, chanting voices, steady breaths blend into a harmony of resilience. As you drift into dreams, guided by a buffalo's gaze or a healer's prayer, you grasp the camp's truth. Survival is not conquest but connection, turning cold into warmth, fear into courage, and darkness into a shared vision of dawn. The camp endures, its people dreaming together. Their resilience a flame burning through the frozen night, promising another day. As you lie beneath heavy hides, the air carries a faint taste of ash not harsh, but a gentle reminder of the fire's enduring presence, a flavor of continuity woven into countless nights. Your muscles sink, thoughts blurring as sleep claims you like a tide easing driftwood to sea. A poignant belief, recorded in Ojibwe and Cheyenne oral traditions, speaks of dreams at winter's end, visions of green shoots piercing snow, heralding spring's return. These dreams, seen as promises, carried hope through the frozen dark, as ethnographers note. To dream of life in a white world was to trust in tomorrow, a belief as vital to survival as any fur or flame. Imagine drifting into such a vision, where a single blade of grass glows against the snow, its promise lingering as you wake. Scholars suggest these dreams were both spiritual and practical, guiding, planting, or foraging, while reinforcing resilience. The sensory world is soft, the fire's faint pop, the musk of fur, the steady breaths of kin envelop you. Sleep is no longer a choice, but a gentle surrender. Wrapping you in the camp's collective strength hides, cedar smoke, elder songs, and the silence of snow forming a sanctuary where dreams weave hoped into reality. The lodge grows still, embers pulsing like a heartbeat, casting faint warmth across the walls. Bodies lie close, their heat blending into a living quilt, as anthropologists describe in studies of plains tribes. This communal rest, vital as firewood, binds infants, elders, and dogs in a shared circle of warmth. Even in the deepest cold, no one sleeps alone. The sensory richness is profound. Shoulders press against you, furs heavy with shared weight, the air thick with smoke and sweat. Breaths align, a synchronized rhythm, as Cree accounts note, turning the lodge into one dreaming organism. A charming detail emerges. Dogs, curled among the sleepers, add their warmth and loyalty, as Lakota stories recall. Picture a child nestled against a dog's coarse fur, their breaths merging, a quiet comfort against the cold. Scholars debate whether sleeping arrangements followed strict roles or fluid necessity. But the truth is clear. Warmth was shared, a philosophy of survival where community outweighed solitude. Lying here, you feel kin beside you, their presence a shield stronger than any hide. Sleep is not just rest, but belonging, each breath a thread in the camp's enduring tapestry. As night deepens, the fire's glow fades to coals, the world outside blanketed in white silence. A faint sigh ripples through the sleepers, snow settling softly beyond the walls. Ethnographic records from tribes like the Blackfoot describe a dawn ritual, a pause to honor survival through another night. Waking with frost on your lashes, you stir beside kin, the lodge intact, embers smoldering, your body warm. This moment, as Ojibwe traditions suggest, was reverence for resilience, a quiet acknowledgement of life's persistence. Scholars ponder whether winter was merely endured or embraced as a teacher, shaping patience and humility, as Lakota philosophies imply. The cold, both obstacle and guide, honed body and mind. The sensory quiet is delicate, a coal's pop, a sleeper's shift, the muffled snow outside. This stillness carries the weight of survival, a testament to centuries of ingenuity, hides, herbs, songs, and shared warmth, each with purpose. Sleep here is rest within a collective memory, a triumph woven from trust and care. Now, let your own breath slow, as the camp's does. Picture the fire reduced to glowing coals, faint warmth lingering in the air. Outside, the storm has passed, leaving a world of white silence. Inside, the people rest as one, their dreams threading together like a great quilt. Feel that stillness settle over you. The softness of furs against your skin, the gentle hush of snow against walls, the steady rhythm of shared breaths, these cradle you, simple yet profound. The lessons of these winter nights drift toward you like falling snow, whispering of patience, community, and resilience. Survival was not just strength, but softness, sharing warmth, weaving stories, tending fires, dreaming together. Even in the darkest hours, comfort was crafted. Let these whispers ease you now. Each inhale carries warmth. Each exhale releases weight. The night no longer needs your vigilance. The fire endures, the lodge holds. The picture hides tucked tighter, the cold distant, unable to reach you. Only warmth remains, steady and calm. Drift, as the camp drifts into a cocoon of safety. Let the images of snow and fire fade into your own quiet darkness. The lessons linger. You are not alone, even in the coldest moments. Sleep well, dream gently, carried toward morning with the same quiet strength that sustained those winter nights. You are safe. Lying in the lodge, wrapped in furs, lulled by stories, healed by herbs, and bound by kin, you feel the camp's heartbeat a symphony of survival. From moonlit hunts to shared games, from sacred rituals to communal rest, every act weaves a tapestry of resilience. Infants swaddled in moss, elders sharing myths, families enduring storms, all are united by fire, fur, and trust. These shelters are lodges, tipis, snow-draped camps or sanctuaries where sleep is a collective triumph, harmonizing with the land's wild pulse. Each night's rest, sustained by dreams, care, and connection, defies winter's cruelty. The lodge's rhythms, crackling embers, chanting voices, steady breaths blend into a harmony of endurance. As you drift into dreams, guided by a green shoot or a buffalo's gaze, you grasp the camp's truth. Survival is not conquest but communion, turning cold into warmth, fear into courage, and darkness into a shared vision of dawn. The camp endures, its people dreaming together, the resilience of flame burning through the frozen night, promising another day.